What's up, reptile fans? Dave Palumbo here with Muscle Serpents University, and by popular demand, we're going to be doing a boa litter. We're going to be talking about the labyrinth morph and the super form of it, the Crystl. We're going to do a little update on some of the babies from 2018. Stay tuned. So a lot of you guys have been asking me about boa videos you want. A lot of people have asked me about the Crystyls we produced in 2018, which is the super form of this labyrinth boa. Obviously, look at the labyrinth. You can see the labyrinth pattern here. This is our daddy, and he's really cool. The mom is pretty cool too. We can show you her in a little bit. And I bred labyrinth, or hypo labyrinth, the hypo labyrinth, and we produced the super form of it called the Crystl. Jeff Ronnie, who originated the project, he produced a couple Crystyls this year, and I produced 3 of them as well. I'm going to give you an update on what they look like and what we can hope for next year. I'm repeating this breeding again to see if we can get a couple more Crystyls. They're super cool. Let's go check them out. Here is a Hypo Labby male. Actually, it's a female that I produced. As you can see, the labyrinth pattern right here. This is like typical classic Labby. Obviously the Hypo gene in there really lightening everything up and brightening it up and making it a lot more red. I mean, this is, in and of itself, this is like the perfect, beautiful snake. I mean, if I'm looking for a pet, I'm looking for something like cool to show my friends. I mean, this is it. It doesn't get much nicer than this. I love the labyrinth pattern. One of my favorite, pattern mutations in the boa world right now. The great thing, obviously, is when you breed these things together, you can get that Crystl, which we're going to look at a little later. But, the Hypo gene does some interesting stuff. A regular labyrinth, which I don't have one, I didn't produce it, everything I have is at least Hypo. The regular labyrinth, you'll see a lot more labyrinth pattern. The Hypo kind of, reduces this pattern a little bit. Even though it lightens everything up, color-wise, it reduces the pattern. So you see a little less labyrinth in there, but once again, the reds and all those colors just come out a lot more because you get a reduction of melanin. Now we're going to look at next a super hypo labyrinth, and you'll see the reduction in pattern even more and the brightening up of the colors. What I would call a super hypo, possible super hypo, but to me it's definitely a super hypo labyrinth. Once again, you can see the labyrinth pattern is really reduced here, almost down to nothing, almost to a single line. But if you look, there's so much more color, there's a lot less melanin. You see the lightness in all the pattern, and you could just tell that the labyrinth has essentially been reduced to almost like I said, a single line. But you can actually just see the labyrinth in there, obviously a little fired up here. But this is what the Hypo gene does. It reduces pattern, but the color is still great. And even though he doesn't want to cooperate now, you can see you can see the difference. And you can see these guys are really growing. They put on a nice size, and I'm feeding them really lightly. They eat seriously, they're still eating hoppers, mice. I'm not feeding them a lot of food at all. I don't like to overfeed my baby boas. So that they grow nice and slow at first, and then once they hit that, once they get past that 6 months, 8 months, they kind of get to that bulletproof stage where you can kind of do whatever you want with them. I still don't overfeed, but I'll give them bigger prey objects. When they're a little smaller, the prey is a little tougher. You don't want to, like I said, give them too big. You don't want them regurgitating or anything like that. Now we saw the hypo labyrinth. Now we're seeing the super hypo labyrinth here. Let's see if he'll cooperate a little bit here for us so that he doesn't go crazy. And then we're going to go now to the next step up, which is the super labyrinth, super hypo. And that's going to be your super hypo Crystl. Now we get to my favorites, the Crystyls. Everyone's been asking me about the Crystl updates. Well, I have a female and a male that I kept, and here's the female. I mean, she's gorgeous. I would say this is a super hypo, super labby, or a super hypo Crystl. You can see the blue eye. You see that pink. I mean, there's the coloration is just, that's a leucistic. You can see it's just got no pigment whatsoever, no dark pigment. It's got that single pink line here of reduced pattern. That's from probably the Hypo gene, the super Hypo gene. And then obviously the super labby just kind of takes it down to its bare minimum. And you have just blue eyes, and you have this beautiful, white colored snake. It's gorgeous. I mean, pretty much. And I love it. I mean, and she's eating good. She's growing nice. And I'm gonna show you her brother in a second. And here's my other, as I call it, my dragon. I have two dragons. This is the male, Super Hypo, Super Labyrinth, or Super Hypo Crystl, as we call it. Blue eyes, almost, pretty much white. He's got a little bit more like diffuse pink spread out. It almost looks like a coral albino a little bit spread. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, although this camera's so good it probably is. You can see all this is all pink, basically. And his pattern has been reduced to 0, almost. The labyrinth pattern is almost complete. You can see a little bit of it up here. That's the Super Hypo gene in there doing that. Just kills the pattern. Obviously the white and the blue eyes from the Crystl. And he's growing good. I'm hoping next year I can breed this guy. And he's got the nice pink tongue. And he's just super cool. This guy is like just chills. He's much more laid back than a lot of the other boas. He's just gonna, I can't wait that he's big enough I can kind of put him around my neck and kind of really have fun with him, but he's been doing great. He never turns a meal down. I'm really happy with the way the Crystls came out. To me, this is probably the most exciting project, out there right now. And, a blue-eyed boa is just super cool. It doesn't get much better than that. And I gave away, well, I didn't give away. I've sold one of the males because I figured I didn't need 2 Crystl males. So this is the male I'm keeping. He's going to be my holdback. The other male I think was only a Hypo Crystl. I don't think it had the Super Hypo gene. It had a little bit more pattern in it. And that also super cool. I was really blessed to get 3 Crystls in this breeding. Once again, I'm going to try to repeat the breeding. I don't know if she'll go, this year. I don't know if she actually put on enough size. I put the male and females together. We'll see if we get some babies this year. But even if I didn't, I'm really happy with this last year's litter. I have a couple of babies left, a couple of Hypo Labyrinths and possible Super Hypo Labyrinths left for sale. You can contact me if you're interested. But I know a lot of people were interested in the update. Here it is. The Crystls are doing great. Thanks, guys, for all the support. I know a lot of people have emailed me, told me they love the project, and they congratulated me. So I wanted to give you guys a little update on what's going on. If you like what you see, make sure you turn on your notifications, subscribe to the channel, hit like, send your suggestions, because I'll keep doing more. I know everyone's been asking me, boa, boa, boa. I got a lot more boas to show you guys. Dave Palumbo with Muscle Serpents University.